Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of All Things Vuma. If you want to send us an email, please do so, info@vumatv.co.za. And please go to our website for more info on our sponsors, vumatv.co.za. In this week's episode, we have a chat to South Africa's beloved cycling couple and their love and passion for mountain biking in the Outeniqua Mountains. We meet someone with a passion for literally serving people with home-cooked meals that not only nourishes the body, but also the soul. We end off the show with a wilderness-based artist who loves exploring different dimensions that manifest through her art.
So my name is Swanepoel, married to
Yolandi Swanepoel.
We were both born in the Free State, and then we lived in Heidelberg, Gauteng, and recently moved down to the Garden Route, living in George now for the last year and a half.
Both started cycling when we were fairly young. I think I was 12 years old. I started on the road bike, and then I moved across to mountain biking, I think when I was around 22. That's also when I met Malt.
Good influence?
Yeah, very good influence. And yes, I've been loving it ever since.
I started mountain biking high school, so that was a long time ago, basically when mountain biking started, and just fell in love with the sport, and I've never actually found anything else to replace it with. It still gives me, I wouldn't say an adrenaline rush, at times it does, but it's just, it's one of the best things you can do. It just encapsulates everything, outdoors, fitness, thrill. Yeah, and I got to meet my wife.
I was out training in Heidelberg, and yes, the next moment I felt this hand on my back, and he gave me the fright of my life. And it was actually him that cycled up next to me, and he didn't want to give me a fright, so he just touched my back, and that's actually how we met. And then we saw each other more at events, and that's how our story started.
Yeah. I suppose in cycling, most people, if they asked to list their achievements, they would go on and say they've won certain titles and races, and although those things, for me at least, they obviously are important, because at the end of the day, that's what sponsors need to justify their sponsorship, and through that, we get to make a living. I would say, like maybe you would agree with this, my biggest achievement is actually just having a fairly long and consistent career, first of all, and then secondly also that most of the sponsors that I got involved with along the way, I've managed to keep, and even in a post-career, I've still had very good relations with them, to the point where I can phone them up, ask them for anything, most of them at least, I think it is. For me, that actually, if somebody had to ask me, that's a pretty big achievement.
I feel the same as Malt. I've literally started my professional career when I left high school, and I've been professional for, I think it's 22 years. So it's hard to say there's one specific result. I think there's so many highlights throughout your career. And I think for me, the biggest achievement is when I set out to do something and I actually accomplish it. And strangely enough, I think on the road scene, I really wanted to go overseas and ride for a professional team, which I managed to do. I rode for Lotto Belisol, a Belgium UCI registered team. And strangely, if I think of one thought now on the mountain bike, I really wanted to be able to do a jump. And for me, that is quite a big highlight of my career, to actually aim to do a jump. I think it's a way of living.
Yes.
I must say, if I think about mountain biking, I immediately think, like Mel said, it provides so much. You get to explore, you get to see new places, you get to be in nature, you get to meet like-minded people. So I think it's a way of life. I wouldn't say it completes you, but
if you don't have it in your life, it definitely leaves a hole in my life. That's for sure. You miss it if it's not there. It's hard to put a finger on exactly why, but it's just a lot of positive things about it and very little negative things about it. So I suppose it's almost in our DNA at this stage.
Yeah.
Maybe we're just used to it, but it's comforting to know that there is something that there's always something to fill that hole.
I've learned that you have to appreciate every moment, yep.
Appreciate every moment and live for the moment.
Yeah.
You never know what's coming next, so enjoy and appreciate what you have, because you don't know how long you have it.
My name is Bailey. I moved to the garden route about 4 years ago. I grew up in PE and then spent some tiresome years in Joburg. And during COVID, we decided we could work from anywhere, so we popped back to the garden route, and it has been the best decision that I ever made. We live right close to the mountains, and I just think that being in this area is the greatest privilege in the world. My philosophy for life is simplicity. I think that we get so caught up in the notion of more is better, and we overcomplicate things. And I think that perhaps it's as I get older, but I'm realizing that the real beauty and the only place where you can really find fulfillment is just really immersing yourself in what you have and what is naturally abundant in life. I have a servant heart, that is the honest truth. I've always been involved in hospitality, and whilst I enjoyed the leisure space, when I moved into corporate hospitality, I was absolutely fueled by just being able to, whether it's feed or organize for someone, but from a corporate space, you're really able to, let's take it from a restaurant perspective, you're able to nourish someone so that they can get on with the rest of their day. They don't have to worry about it, etc. So I really enjoy that. And I think that, I mean, I've always been giddy about food and cooking, etc. But I'm more enamored with the service part of it and the nourishment and maybe even nurturing part of it. I think that there's no greater gift to cook a wholesome meal from scratch and serve it to someone that you love and know that that is going to nourish them so that they can get on with the rest of the day. I think that's very special. It's a gift. So when we were growing up, my mom had, we were 3 wild children, and my mom had one unbreakable rule, and that was to come around the table, the 3 of us, every night, well, the 5 of us actually, every night, and have supper. Sometimes they were chaotic, sometimes simple, sometimes very sullen, lots of screaming and shouting, etc. But either way, we all got around a table every night. We lost my brother to suicide when we were teenagers, and it really shattered my folks. And the one thing that I'll never forget is that even though my mom could hardly face the world, every single night she knew that what her family needed was to continue to come together. And she dragged herself up and made a meal and forced us to come together, sometimes in silence, sometimes they were awful. But that really got us through, is that every day we were still forced to come together and share a meal together. And I think that it's just, look, moms are amazing, but I think that life is really busy, and regardless of what people are going through, I mean, the data doesn't lie. Better mental health for family suppers, and lack of depression, less depression if you're eating together, etc. But I think at the end of the day, I just like to make it a little bit easier for moms or dads, or just couples to come together and have a wholesome meal, and it's just, nourish each other. So get your family together around a table for a wholesome, delicious, nourished meal, 6 steps, 30 minutes. And yeah, check us out and order some meal kits. We'd love to serve you. Website is hellosupper.co.za. Our social handles are at hellosuppergr. Go and have a look and have a like.
Hello, my name is Ashleigh de Villers Herselman. I am an artist here in the garden route. I love being in the garden route because we have this incredible abundance of nature and just beautiful things to do that don't require you to go into a building or walk around on tar. There's a lot of just immersion into nature that can happen, and it's really incredible and very inspiring as an artist, because that's what we draw from in general, for us at least. I think for the most part in the garden route we really get a kick out of being in nature and trying to portray that love to the general public. I'm originally from Amanus, and then I spent a little bit of time in Cape Town, a very short stint in Kimberley, where I studied photography. But yeah, growing up in Amanus was also a very inspirational place, with all of the whales and the mountains and the walks and the beaches. I require a lot of time in the sea. Our family needs time in the sea to be 100% okay with life. Art, I have a variety of different art forms that I like to explore. I do mandalas, which started off about 10 years ago when I was studying photography. I was getting stressed out by the maths, and I turned to mandala to soothe myself, and from then I've been doing it sort of perpetually. It's always a way to calm the mind. I do paintings of sort of fantastical scenes with lots of flowers, and the Pathfinders is a series I'm busy with, which is these imagined ancient beings, and the idea with them is that they show us the way back to nature, back to healing ourselves within natural spheres. I think it's a direction that we as society are moving towards, and I like the idea of being able to portray that and help people see the comfort in it. I studied photography, and I do abstract water photographs, which I like to think is a way that also we can see the beauty within ourselves when we look at it. It's a reflection of light and shadow, and we ourselves are always a reflection of our light and shadow, and yeah, it's just absolutely beautiful, and we are, as humans, absolutely beautiful. So it's a nice way to try and show people that they have that inside of them. What does art do for me? It calms me down, it allows me to focus, it is a way for me to share what I love with the general public, with touching people. When someone comes in and they like something, it feels so seen, and it's incredible to have that feeling and to share a vision with someone. When someone sees something of yours that you've created up and they come in and they feel it, it's an indescribable feeling to connect to people like that. And I also have a huge passion for poetry. It comes from growing up in a home filled with poems. My grandmother's sister was Ingrid Jonker. I wrote this poem for a town in the northeast of Brazil, as lush and leafy as wilderness. It goes like, I named it Jericoacoara after the town. Anonymity steeped in excitement ventured the new city streets. Palm fronds and vagabonds sway for the breeze. Everything colored in music, covered in sand. Pilgrimage for the sunset. Create as much as possible. Not everything is going to be amazing, and you just got to, even if something pops out and it's not beautiful, just try again and carry on. And even if you don't think something is nice, chances are someone else is going to see something beautiful in it. So yeah, just keep putting your work out there. Don't be afraid to create. So we have this Ethos Gallery. We're open from Tuesdays to Sundays. I have an Instagram page, which I've just started up again after a long time of it being down. That is Ashleigh DVH.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of All Things Vuma. See you next time. Live simply, travel light, and always see the wonder.